It's all gone. Come back at you with a video. I'm doing my contest response for Ricky Russo. It's almost 4 a.m. This is my last day off for 12 days. Have to work opening day, but I don't have to work the game. I have to work the third shift after the game, so oh well. But this is my contest response for his dream team contest. I'm going to be doing the Indians. That is my place of employment, so I figured it's fitting. But I did things a little bit different. I have my full roster. I added a DH, being an American League team. I have 3 bench players because being a Cleveland fan my whole life, it's always the bench players who come up big for us. I've noticed. A few years ago when we were in the playoff hunt, Jason Giambi, he played about 4 times a month. He cracked a 3-run home run in a walk-off fashion to win us a game. Enrique Wilson was huge for us back in the day. I remember Ezekiel Carrera had a couple big hits for us. You know, the list goes on. Pat Borders, good lord, Pat Borders. Einar Diaz. Like, we always, like, it's always, we need a big hit. It seems to be that the guys who aren't an everyday starter always are the ones who come up big for us. But, like I said, I got my full lineup, 3 bench guys, and then when I get to starting pitchers, I'm going to explain that, because I have a full rotation, but there's a reason behind it. But I'm going to get into it. Starting at catcher, I have this. I didn't put a lineup together. I just have players at every position. At catcher, this was tough. It was between the guy I picked and Ray Fosse, who was a Cleveland legend. Obviously, he got ran over by Pete Rose. I believe it was Pete Rose. But I went with Sandy Alomar. He's our first base coach. He's played for us for like 10 years. You know, and he's one of our better catchers that we've ever had. I think Yan Gomes could definitely be one of our better catchers ever, because if he plays like he played last year every year, I think Yan Gomes is going to be a bona fide all-star this year. But I went with Sandy. Huge, a lot of memories from him in the 90s. You know, he wasn't the best fielding catcher, but he threw a lot of guys out. He had some big hits for us. So yeah, I went with Sandy. First base, I wanted to go with Santana, but I'm not sure how, being a Cleveland fan, you could take Santana over Jim Thome. Obviously, you know, 600 home runs. He's our team all-time home run leader with 338 home runs. He has a statue. You know, can't not pick Jim Thome. I was going to put him at DH, but I don't know. I just stuck him at first. For second base, obviously, Roberto Alomar. Hall of Famer. He was only with us for 4 years, I believe, but he's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best fielders. He likes spitting in umpire's face, so I like his gritty toughness. There's a lot of 90s guys on this list, because, you know, that's when I grew up. And this is where one of the bench players comes in. I picked Carlos Baerga, another Cleveland legend who played for us in the 90s. I'm pretty sure, I'm 95% positive, he is the Indians' all-time leader in home runs by a switch hitter, if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure that's fact, because this guy is only 7 away from breaking that record, so he should do that this year, hopefully. But yeah, Carlos Baerga, you know, he wasn't my favorite player, but he's a pretty damn good player for us. Shortstop. Is there any question who I'm going to pick? It's going to be the man, The greatest fielding shortstop of all time. Sorry, Ryan. Sorry, Zach. All you other Cardinals fans. Ozzie was great, but it doesn't top this guy. Omar. I got in an argument about Omar with my coworker the other day. He does not think Omar deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Now, I know Omar played, I believe, 5 more years than Ozzie, but he played 5 more years. He has 100 less errors than Ozzie Smith. 100 less errors, and he played 5 more years. You're telling me that Omar's not the greatest fielder of all time? Maybe not of all time, but easily one of the best ever. Ozzie Smith, everyone garners him as, well, not everybody, a lot of people say he's the best fielding shortstop ever. You know, he has 13 gold gloves, I think it's 13. I can understand that. But look at the numbers. Omar has 100 less errors, and he played 5 more years. Omar also has better offensive stats. Yeah, I know they're not offensive heavy guys. You know, they were little guys. But if Ozzie Smith is going to be in the Hall of Fame, how can Omar not? And he has better stats all around. So, I mean, that's just me. I'm a little biased, but... And then another backup that I got, Mr. Clevelander. Well, one of 2 guys we consider Mr. Cleveland just because they just reek Cleveland. And this year they're putting in a Larry Doby statue, and I believe they're putting in 1 more in the coming years. And I think it's going to be this guy, Omar's backup, for my all-time list, Lou Boudreau. He played for us for, I think, 16 years, and then he was a manager for us. How can you not have Lou Boudreau? Third base. There's a few options you could go. You know, you got Al Rosen, who just passed away. Matt Williams was awesome for us the one year we had him. David Bell, who was big for us for a few years. I went with Travis Fryman. He was part of the infield unit who set the all-time Major League record for fielding percentage in a season. And he was a pretty good hitter for us. He was a pretty good hitter. So I went with Travis Fryman. Outfield. This outfield was tough because we have some great players. I did not pick Manny Ramirez. I know Ben's gonna be like, oh, what the hell, dislike. But I couldn't go with Manny. You know, like, I loved Manny when he was here, but the whole juicing thing, I can't do it. I can't put him in there. You know, I don't like cheaters, and you know, it just sucks to see a guy that I was such a big fan of back in the day, you know, turn down that road. And, you know, the same goes for, like, McGuire. I was a huge McGuire fan, and he went down that road. You know, it just sucks. But I left Manny off the list, so I'm sorry. Left field, I have Albert Bell. He still holds the season record for home runs, which was 50. And like I said, he brings that gritty toughness, mean side to the team, which I like. If you guys have ever heard the story of him assaulting a fan, there was a heckler at one of the games, and he kept on calling him Joey, because, you know, that was Albert Bell's first name was Joey, and he hated it. He hated being called Joey. And this fan just kept doing it over and over and over again. Finally, Albert Bell just got pissed, and he whipped the baseball at him. And he hit the guy in his stomach, and there was a whole big thing about it. But I'm going with Albert Bell. Center field. How can you not take Kenny Lofton? You know, how can you not? Arguably the best outfielder I've seen in a Cleveland Indians uniform. The guy that dude, the things that Kenny did, you know, when he would scale the center field fence and rob a home run, and he was just so fast. Like, I understand why RBI Crew loves Kenny Lofton so much. So, definitely got to go with Kenny Lofton. Right field, I'm going with Larry Doby. You know, he's one of the few old guys that I picked. You know, he's a legend in his own right. He was the first American League African-American player. You know, can't go without Larry Doby. And DH, I took Al Rosen. You know, he was I know he was a third baseman, but he hit quite a few home runs. He won an MVP with us, I think in 54, I think it was the year. 54, I think. Al Rosen won the MVP. So, definitely Al Rosen. Now, pitching. I have a full rotation, but I have 6 starting pitchers because we are famous for always having an extra pitcher, an extra starting pitcher. Last year we had like 7. That's just what we do. We have random spot starts every now and then. Like last year we had Kluber, we had Carrasco, we had Bauer, Zach McAllister, TJ House, Danny Salazar started quite a few games. Josh Tomlin started half the season. It's what we do. I don't know why we do it. I think it's a Francona thing, but we've been doing that since the 90s. You know, we always had, you know, back in the day, in the 90s, we had Charles Nagy, we had Oral Hershiser, we had Chad O.J. I'm trying to think of the other guys we had. I'm trying to think of the guys from like 97. Oh, Jarrett Wright and Bartolo Colon. Those were the 5 starting rotations. So you had Nagy, Hershiser, O.J., Colon, and Wright. And then we had Brian Anderson, who started, I think, 10 or 11 games. And we had another guy who started. It's just what we do. You know, I know that might be an MLB thing, but we seem to do it the most. So I have 6 starting pitchers for the random spot start that we always do. Pitcher number 1, Bob Feller. The other Mr. Cleveland. If you guys have ever been to Progressive Field, or the Jacobs Field as I call it, it's still the Jake. But if you've ever seen Bob Feller's statue, that thing is huge. It is huge. It was so funny watching the construction workers move that thing for the construction this year, because it literally took like an hour to move it like a block. It is that big. So, Bob Feller's a legend, man. I've had the pleasure of meeting Bob Feller several times. I have several of his autographs. So, definitely Bobby. Second, my favorite pitcher ever in an Indians uniform is Charles Nagy. You know, I loved Nagy when he was with us back in the 90s. He was It was between him and Omar for my favorite players, but Omar usually took it. But Nagy is definitely extremely close to my heart, and now he's a employee of the Indians as well. So, number 2, Charles Nagy. Number 3, this might be a little bit of a surprise, Sudden Sam McDowell. Now, Sudden Sam was an asshole. To put it straight, he was you know. He had his demons and whatnot. He had a 103-mile-an-hour fastball. So, all of you guys wowing about Aroldis Chapman, look up Sudden Sam McDowell. He was awesome. Awesome. He played for us in the 60s. And it's just a shame what happened with him down his road in his career, because I think if he would have, you know, stayed on a good path, he could have been an awesome MLB pitcher. Number 4. This guy only played with us for 2 seasons. In 1948 and 1949. He was in his 40s. But because of his legendary status. Why did I just say that? Yeah. God, I just had a brain fart. Played for us in 1948 and 49, and he was in his 40s. And like I said, this guy is legendary. Arguably one of the greatest pitchers of all time, Satchel Paige. Just the iconic figure himself, you know, Satchel Paige. Satchel Paige played on your team and he's not in your all-time rotation. I don't know what you're doing. But definitely have Satchel Paige in my all-star, all-time lineup, whatever you want to call it. Number 5 is Oral Hershiser. Now, I picked Oral because he is one of the clutchest pitchers ever for us in the playoffs. He has I think it was 97. Yeah, he went 4-1 in the playoff play. And the Bulldog, as we call it. I think he was called the Bulldog either way. But Hershiser is definitely a major pitcher for us in the 90s. And I could not leave him off this list. And my 6th guy, my spot starter, I went with Big Bad Len Barker. Obviously, if you don't know who Len Barker is, I recommend you go do so, because he was the man. Let's go look up Len Barker. That's all I can say. Len Barker is the man. And he has a bomb-ass autograph, too. My closer, I'm going Jose Mesa, because we don't really have a really dominant closer, kind of. Not really. I mean, Tom Candiotti, which I think was a starter. I don't know. But I went Jose Mesa. He's kind of a dick. I wasn't really a big fan of him, but couldn't really put Cody Allen in there yet, because, he's all of 25. I didn't want to put new guys in there, but ask me in about 5 years, I'll probably throw Cody Allen in there. And then my manager, I picked a manager, Mike Hargrove. I mean, I got Lou Boudreau on my team playing, so Mike Hargrove's the next best thing. So, almost 17 minutes. I'm sorry for the long video, Ricky. You don't have to watch it all. You probably haven't. But that's my response for Mr. Russo. I will talk to you all later. I will see you soon, hopefully. Yeah, I'm going to go get something to eat. So, yeah. Later.